I want to take you back to my summer of 2017. A-levels are over, and I've decided to take a year out of education, what we call in this country a gap year. But I wasn't going to spend it finding myself in Thailand. No. My plan was to find myself via street food, more specifically, Italian street food. I stumbled upon this great product, the Tasca, on the streets of Rome, visiting family a year before, and I thought this would be perfect for the bustling UK street food scene. I was going to start this business alongside my two good friends from school, Dan and Rob. So we had the product, we had the team, and we had some money saved up from working all through the summer. What didn't we have? Well, it turns out that in a street food business, it's actually quite important to be able to drive, and we realized embarrassingly late that none of us had driver's licenses. This, combined with rejection from every single street food market we applied to, had seemed to crush our entrepreneurial dreams before they'd even had a chance to begin. So we reacted in the way that many teenagers in this country would in that situation. We went to the pub. But it was at the pub that we were thrown a lifeline. One of the guys, Dan, his dad, Teo, has been a restaurateur in London for over 25 years. He hears of our story, and by process of deduction, figures out where we are, and he comes to see us. And he says, boys, pizzerias, they don't move. They don't need a driver's license. Why waste this great opportunity of a gap year that you have? Start your own pizzeria. Huh? We just failed at starting a street food business. We didn't sell one thing, and he wants us to start a pizzeria. He's got to be joking, surely. But he wasn't. So he explained, he continued to elaborate. Apparently, there was a pizzeria nearby in the borough of Wandsworth where the tenant had recently vacated the premises, and the landlord wants to replace him ASAP. So we had no other options on the table, so we said, okay, let's go and check it out. And this is what we saw. Yeah, it looks pretty bad, but believe it or not, at the time, we actually thought, you know what, we can get this done in 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, less than a month we can be open. We'll new bit of paint, we'll do the bar up a little bit, we'll clean the kitchen, we can be open in no time. I really don't know where we got this confidence from. We were very underqualified for this opportunity. Granted, Dan had had experience working on and off for his dad for many years. I had some in hospitality, and so did Rob. But working in a restaurant and running a restaurant are completely different things. But we couldn't use our inexperience as an excuse for inaction. So we took the opportunity and we ran with it. Murphy's Law says that if something can go wrong, then it definitely will go wrong. And I could probably give lectures at this university on Murphy's Law now, from what I learned in the next 2 months. Brace yourselves. First came the case of our sewage. See, the previous tenants had decided it'd be a good idea to throw food waste down the sink for years. Eventually, this built up and it overflowed into our restaurant, and we had to literally clean it up ourselves. See, this is where the gap year to Thailand became most appealing, cleaning this. And then came the bar. See, we wanted to put a beer tap on the bar, but there was a sink in the way. So we said, okay, let's replace it. We'll take the sink out, we'll put the beer tap in. Being expert builders that we were, we managed to destroy the entire bar area by doing this. So we had to rebuild it from scratch. Before we'd even put our first pizza in the oven, it seemed like we'd bitten off more than we could chew. Yes, we'd bitten off more than we could chew. You could say that again. We'd missed our deadline of November the 16th to be open by, so we revised it to December the 1st. And we were quietly confident that we were going to make that date. Why? Because overcoming unexpected obstacles had become our steady state of being. And only looking back on this do we realize that we were developing resilience. We were going to make that December the 1st date, even if it meant spending more time going to B&Q, getting building supplies, than our actual homes. But the good news was that we did make the December the 1st date. We had a great opening night. And what helped us get there was ruthless prioritization. What do I mean by this? Our menu, for the first week, we'd done this by hand the day before and photocopied it. Why? Just saying, we eventually did have nice menus, these ones, but this was after a week. But why did we start with this? See, what use was a nicely done menu if there was no one actually coming into the restaurant to order from them? or if the food we were serving to our customers wasn't of good enough quality. So we prioritized marketing, we prioritized finding the right suppliers, making sure everything in the kitchen was up to scratch for opening night. And then after this, we went on to the menus. See, Dan's dad, Teo, he didn't visit us very often, but when he did visit, he'd always ask us the key question, boys, how well are you using your time? Because often the difference between achieving your targets and not achieving them doesn't necessarily come down to how hard you work, because that's the bare minimum. But it's what are you prioritizing? How smart are you working? But the good news was we were open, hooray. But now, how do we actually get people through the door? Friends and family are a great support with a business like this. They want to come and help and give you as much of their money as they can. But even after a while, they realize they can't just eat pizza all the time. And so we had to branch out. We had to reach a network of people that we didn't know. But the reality of the situation was we didn't have the budget of our rival restaurants. We just didn't. So we had to think a little bit more creatively. What did we have? Pizza, lots of it, and us three. So we combined the two, and we went on an all-out marketing offensive, door to door, office to office, standing outside cold train stations when people were coming back from work, handing out warm slices of pizza with menus, boxes of pizza with menus. See, it took a lot of work, and it was also inspired partly by our necessity. We didn't have the money to have big advertising campaigns, but our strategy differentiated us from the competition. It left a good impression on people. Us going to them eventually brought customers to us. So people were coming in, great. But the lifeline of any business is repeat customers. How do you get repeat customers in the restaurant trade? You build unique customer relations. We did this by leaving little takeaway notes in each of our delivery boxes, or 2 shots of limoncello on the house, no questions asked, whether you asked for it or not, or an alcoholic drink if you wanted as well. These were our small little genuine actions that elicited genuine responses. Our strategy wasn't rocket science. If we were nice to our customers, they would return and be nice to us. We were proven right on this in a big way. One day, our dough machine broke. It stopped working. We don't know why, it just did. And as you can imagine, no dough machine, no pizza, no pizzeria. So we were on the brink of closing for the next day when our last customer of the day walks in. It's a gentleman who's been coming in very frequently in recent months. Consistent takeaways, dinner with his friends. He was from the same area of Spain as Dan, so we knew him quite well. And so he sees us struggling, and he says, guys, let me go home, get my toolbox, and I'll help you fix it. Within half an hour, it was fixed. Naturally, we offered him the pizza on the house. Please, have anything. He didn't charge us a dime. But he insisted on paying for his pizza that day. What more evidence do you need of good customer relationships? But full disclosure, making pizzas is not my passion. It's not Dan's passion, it's not Rob's passion. But what we found was more important than passion, was getting lost in the thrill of the everyday activities that you did do, making the pizzas, serving the drinks. An example of this was one day, it was a January night, and January is the worst month for restaurants in terms of the money that they make. It's a very slow month. It was about 8 o'clock, and we could see no one was going to come in. We had 2 people here, 2 people there. But then as soon as the clock struck 8:01, we got a table for 6, then a table for 4, another table for 4. Within 20 minutes, we were packed. We had a full house. And we entered what the literature calls these days a flow state, the definition of time flying by because you were having fun. We were invested in every single little thing that we were doing. And the evening went by like that. So you might be asking, if you were having so much fun, why are you here giving this talk and not making pizzas in London? Well, the reality is we had to close Tasca in the March of 2018. We were at a key point where, although our revenue was growing month on month, we generated media buzz both here and in Italy, we hadn't earned a consistent wage throughout the entire process. We were working ourselves to the bone, 100-hour weeks. And with no guarantee, we'd managed to keep our precious baby Tasca open past September, as we all had university offers that we'd accepted. It was a really difficult choice. Tasca had become an extension of myself, of Dan and Rob, but we eventually decided to end on the high note that we were on in March. But if you're going to take one thing from Tasca today, it's this. Don't start a pizzeria in your gap year. Go traveling. But seriously, 3 key points from today. The first is if you wait until you're ready, you're never going to be ready. We were not ready for this opportunity, straight up. But it was too great to turn down. See, in this day and age, opportunities come at you left, right, and center. But you can surprise yourself with just how well you can actually do if you just take them. I would never have learned how to make a pizza to a professional standard, or pull a pint properly, or stock management, project management, managing a small business, setting up a limited liability company, finances. I would never have done that if I hadn't just taken it. Secondly, although it's well-intentioned advice, I will admit, following your passion, you could say is wrong, and it's actually quite restrictive. What we found was vital is finding that flow state, the fun in the everyday activities that you do. We even managed to turn counting the receipts, which is a mind-numbingly boring task, at the end of every night, we made it to a game. Who could do it quicker? There you go. But thirdly, the most important thing that we learned, and what I'd really want you to come away with today, is that failure ultimately needs to be viewed as feedback and not be seen as a personal thing. Now, this seems obvious, but let's dive into it a little bit more. 95% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. I'm sure you've all heard that statistic or something similar to that. But a recent study coming out of Stanford Graduate School showed that with every new attempt at a business, over 2 million US businesses were surveyed, by the way, with every new attempt at business, the chances of success increase every single time. But the sad bit is that the overwhelming majority of people never try that second time. They never get past that first failure. See, we could have done the same thing with Tasca. We could have seen it as the universe's way of telling us to never do anything like that again. We were out of our league. But we would have missed a key opportunity to take what we learned from that experience as capital into our next project. And that's why I ask every single one of you today to do going forward. And just before I finish, I'd just like to thank my 2 brilliant partners who I did this with, my great friends, Dan, who's sitting in the front row. Any questions, you could direct them to him, and Rob. Without their dedication, their hard work, I wouldn't be standing here trying to give you some lessons from the experience. Today, I spoke on behalf of the whole Tasca team. Thank you.